What's up, Call of Duty fans? Welcome back. We've got week 8 of the CWL regular season coming up to us here in just a touch. Here on Monday, we will have 2 games to cover, all of it still being in Division A. This will be the last time that Division plays exclusively with one another, as each team will have covered playing each team in the division 2 times. So this will be the last time we'll see Division A up until Anaheim, and then week 9 and week 10 will be Division B, and then we'll be at Anaheim ready to go. So let's go ahead and break things down for you guys. Let's take a look and just refresh ourselves as far as what the standings are in Division A. OpTic Gaming have moved their way into first place after their flawless week last week. Able to surpass Gen.G, who had been the front runners up until that head-to-head win that OpTic had. And of course, Gen.G not having the greatest of weeks last week has slid them in the number 2 spot. Nipping at both of their heels though, Midnight still in the mix, even though, again, most of that win-loss ratio was achieved from the first roster that came in just after the PLQ. This Midnight team is actually looking pretty good. Definitely not one to overlook. FaZe Clan able to sit in 4th place, obviously taking over the red reserve spot from that buyout that happened previously, and they're looking very solid as well, with a very good week behind them, but a little bit of a test coming up in front. Evil Geniuses also moved from the bottom up until the 5th spot. Not bad at all for EG, who have improved to 5-9 in the regular season win-loss, with the tiebreaker over both Reciprocity and Luminosity. And then you've got UYU slipping down to the bottom. When you take a look at our week 8 schedule on the right-hand side, we will be dealing with Evil Geniuses, Midnight, Luminosity, and Reciprocity when it comes to who plays first on Monday. And we'll go ahead and take a look at those a little bit more specifically for you guys. Starting off with this Midnight versus Evil Geniuses battle. It's going to be an interesting one, I think. Just to kind of give you some headway, since the Division A recharge kind of started, Midnight is 2-2 in their hardpoint and have looked pretty good in their wins and not terrible in their losses. Their losses coming to both Gen.G and UYU, where that UYU set did go all the way to 5. And again, Midnight is coming off of a 3-0 win against Luminosity, who has been struggling all over the place. In the Search and Destroy category, this is definitely a department where you want to be good at, because a lot of the teams in Division A are good Search and Destroy teams, including Midnight, who went 3 for 1 when it came to win-loss ratio in Search, and their only loss was a round 11 loss to Gen.G. Then you take a look at their control. This is where things have been a little bit shakier for Midnight. They only sit at a total of 10-13. They were 3-2 at London specifically, and their averages are just kind of okay. They're not a bad control team, but they're definitely not what we would call a good one. We'll switch over and talk Evil Geniuses. This team was flawless in their hardpoint coming through the first week of their gameplay, which is impressive to say the least. They were able to go 5-0, and most of those wins were relatively comfortable, with the exception of a 250-246 win 2 times actually versus Gen.G once and UYU at the beginning of the week. Their Search and Destroy since this roster came together has been a very big improvement. This team previously was one of the worst Search and Destroy teams in the game. Since this roster has come together, they have gone a total of 4 wins and 3 losses. Their wins have been rather commanding, but their losses also, with the exception of one of those 3 losses going to round 11, have also been a little bit more embarrassing. But this has been a very strong Search and Destroy team, generally speaking, as far as how they've been able to improve specifically. Then you go over to Control. This was a team that did not win a single point in any round on Control in London. They would finish off their first week going 2-1. Their only loss coming at the hands of Luminosity. That went all the way to round 5. So a very good team here. And then setting up Luminosity, speaking of, and Reciprocity. Again, remember, Reciprocity will be dealing with no Tommy, and Dens will be in his place. If you missed my video talking about that, make sure you go back and take a look as far as what that announcement was and what we can expect from Dens as far as how he will be able to replace Tommy, and for maybe how long. But specifically, I'm not as worried about this interchange as most people would be when it comes to roster swaps that happened last second. You got to remember that Dens has been living at the Reciprocity team house and has been finding himself a lot of time playing, and I'm sure also getting involved in tens and other kind of activities with the team. You take a look at Luminosity though, this was a rough week, only winning a single map in their last week. Granted, they did go up against FaZe Clan, who now we know is a very real team, Evil Geniuses, who very well could be a real team, and Midnight, who is still hanging around. But still, if you're Luminosity, you expect more than winning just a single map. That map win was on that Control versus Evil Geniuses that we talked about previously. Their hardpoints have been atrocious. Only one of their losses came with them totaling over 200 points. That was a 225-50. They lost 63-250 in hardpoint, 128-250, and 195-250 in their other games. Their search has been also pretty catastrophic. A 3-6, 2-6, and 4-6 loss And then the control outside of their 3-2 win, it's been an 0-3 and a 1-3. Not what you want to see. So let's go ahead and take a look more specifically at these matches and what it might mean for the bookies' worst nightmare. Again, if you are someone out there who enjoys betting, I will be giving my predictions through this and also taking a look at the lines and give you kind of an insight as far as what I think might be the safer bets. Now again, betting is for entertainment purposes only. If you're out here trying to make money and you're trying to do it at a very serious level and you think you might have a problem, please consider getting help. This is all just for fun. So if you're looking to enjoy that, here are some ideas that might help you in your bet placements. We'll start off with Midnight. They will have a plus 120. This is all off of Bet365 and American odds, by the way. So if you're a fractional person, just kind of look at, you know, what I might think is a valuable bet for you, and then take a look at that, because I'm not familiar with anything else besides American odds. Their match win line just to win the game is actually at plus 120. They're at a plus 1.5 spread, which again means they have to cover at least 2 rounds against Evil Geniuses, and that's going for minus 175. Not great. You take a look at their mode win losses over the last 10, and then we'll take a look at Evil Geniuses as well. They are the favorites in this matchup at a minus 163 to win, and they have to give up at most 1 round. That's the minus 1.5, and that's actually going at a plus 125 to cover the spread of getting a 3-1 or a 3-0. Personally, this is not, though none of these lines are all that favorable. I still have Evil Geniuses taking this set. However, I think it's going to be a close one. So prediction-wise, I have this one going a 3-2 with the upset potential flag on Midnight. If you're feeling feisty, the plus 120 is not a terrible line to throw a couple of shekels at, but honestly, I'm probably going to be staying away from this one because I don't think there is a safe winner here. And even if you were to bet against the odds here and just go with Midnight as your plus 120, I don't know if that line is favorable enough to throw any money at this one. Minus 163, definitely not worth going for Evil Geniuses. I don't think this game is nearly as safe as that is. And you take a look at the spread bets, minus 175 for Midnight to cover the 2 games, which would be the best bet, I think, here. And that's still at minus 175. So personally, I will not be putting any money on this game, and I would recommend probably staying away from this one unless you're feeling extra confident that Midnight might be the upset. That's the only real favorable line to bet there. Then going into our second match of the night, Luminosity versus Reciprocity. A lot of the T's coming into the mix here. Luminosity, we'll start with them first. They are actually the favorites for this matchup, as they will be going off a win line of minus 163. And then the spread, again, the spreads are actually, I think, backwards right now on Bet365. This is for them to get at least 2 rounds, and it's going at minus 350. Typically, the favorite is keeping the opponent under a certain round limit. This one actually has them, can they get more than 2 rounds? So I think that's probably going to change, so keep your eye on that one as we get close to game time for that. You see their mode win losses over the last 10, just to give you an idea. And then Reciprocity, they are actually the underdogs here with a plus 120 for the match win, and then the spread again for them to essentially would be sweep or 3-1s at plus 250. I personally have this one going 3-2, again going to 5 in favor of Reciprocity. Again, they'll be the ones getting the upset potential flag on the top right there as you see it. I will personally be putting just a couple of dollars down on this one. I think Reciprocity is getting slept on just a touch because they're making a roster change, and I think that Dens will fit into this mix pretty well. So definitely the plus 120, a little bit more favorable here, I believe, for Reciprocity. I'll probably be putting some money down on that one. That's all I would recommend. I definitely do not think Luminosity is worth the minus 163, and then the spread bets being backwards is a little weird. So again, keep your eye on that one if you are a spread better before we get to the actual game itself. Hey, it's been a pleasure being with you guys. We'll be doing a recap of day 1 and then going over predictions and betting lines for day 2 as we get through Monday and going into Tuesday. And beyond that, we'll be continuing that throughout the rest of the week. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully, if you have people out there that you know that bet, maybe you can recommend the video, or at least that person, to see if they agree. Or if you have any comments about what you think, feel free to get down in the comment section below and let me know what you think about the predictions and all that kind of stuff. But until next time, hope you guys all keep holding it down. Later, bye-bye.